Alrighty, so as I'm making this next delivery, I thought I would talk about another topic. I haven't really made an Ivy League video in a long time where I talk about, being a Harvard student and dealing with, issues and concerns that a huge chunk of Ivy League, oh my God, a huge chunk of, there's a car right there that has a camera. Well, I'm an Uber Eats driver. I'm not committing any crime, so whatever. Anyways, it's been a long time since I've ever made a video talking about, Harvard and advice for incoming Ivy League students. So I thought I would touch on that topic for a while. Stop talking about negativity and start focusing on something a little bit more positive. And so what I want to talk about today is how to overcome and sort of channel out the various stigma held against Ivy League students in the Ivy League. Now, for most people, one of the things that you look forward to when you're going to a school like Columbia or Harvard or Yale or, Penn or Princeton or something like that is, the overwhelming amount of praise of, hey, you got into this really prestigious school, you're amazing, I can't believe it. Good job, and things of that sort. And you will be getting a lot of that, I will say. There is a lot of praise for getting into one of the 8 Ivy League schools, or even for schools like Stanford or Duke or MIT or something like that. But one of the things that nobody ever told me when I was going into Harvard was that there's a huge amount of people, and it really doesn't surprise me. This really doesn't surprise me, but there's a huge amount of stigma towards the Ivy League and the prestige around some of these really big universities, because what comes with a good reputation and prestige also, schools that have been around for a long time like Harvard, also sadly there's also a negative side to that, and you also build some negative, a somewhat negative reputation too. I mean, Harvard has a good reputation overall, but a school that's been around for that long, that's that well known, also has the potential to get a lot of hate. And I don't have any hate towards Harvard. I go there, but unfortunately it's just the way of the world. And so what I want to talk about is I want to talk about some of the stigma centered around the Ivy League and why you might get some hate as an incoming student, if you haven't gotten that already. And so one of the reasons that people despise the Ivy League, may despise the Ivy League, is because a lot of the students there have a reputation of getting through something called legacy admissions. And the sad thing is that the majority of students don't get into these schools based off of legacy admissions. It's only like a small percentage, and those students usually have family or connections or something of the sort that help them get into that school. But unfortunately, many people look at that small portion and they think that all the students got in that way, or most of the students got in that way. And so a lot of times when people announce that they're going to a school like Harvard or Yale, they might have this false stereotype that, oh, you're going to one of those schools, oh, you must be like a rich snob who had everything handed to you, and that type of thing. And that's like 9 times out of 10 that's not the case. But you do have a handful of students that got in by sheer connection, or got in by some other means other than hard work and stuff like that. And so that's one stigma surrounded by the Ivy League. And so another thing that people tend to resent about the Ivy League is life smarts over academic smarts, or no, academic smarts over life smarts. And so a lot of students that go to the Ivy League schools, especially ones like Harvard and Yale, they have a reputation of being really, really smart academically, but some of the students might not have life smarts. Like, they might not have street smarts. Like, they might not know how to survive on the street if they went homeless or something like that. And so a lot of people have this false impression of Ivy League students, and they think that a lot of Ivy League students have high academic smarts, but very, very, very little life smarts. And so for that reason, there are a lot of people out there who don't have any respect whatsoever for the Ivy League, because they have this this perception that that's what the student body is full of. Now the problem is that there are a lot of students that are like that, and I've met them myself. There's a lot of students out there, and I'm not going to say that I have the best street smarts either, but there's a lot of people out there who wouldn't be able to, really defend themselves if in a confrontation on the street or something like that, or if they went homeless. But those same students might be like highly academic. Like they might have a lot of book smarts, they might have connections, they might make high grades and stuff like that. And the problem is that a lot of people, especially the ones who have to survive out there, don't really have respect for that. They don't really have respect for people who have high academic smarts but no life smarts. And I'm not going to sit here and say that that's the best way to view Ivy League students, but I'm not going to sit here and say that's the best way to view Ivy League students, but I definitely see where they're coming from, I mean, it's always important to have good life smarts, book smarts alone aren't good enough to get you through life. In fact, a lot of times they're not even good enough to get you a job in today's environment. You have to be really be willing to put yourself out there, get some experience, and make those connections. Nothing is going to come at your doorstep. But you have a lot of students, especially like the really entitled ones, who think that things are going to come to their doorstep. And that's another thing. That goes to my third thing, is that a lot of Ivy League students and people who even don't go to Ivy League schools have the idea that because they're going to an Ivy League school, that they're automatically going to be able to get any job that they want to. And I think most people who have been in the workforce, long enough very well know that there is no degree out there that's going to guarantee you a job, If you go through school, no matter where, even at an Ivy League school, and you make no connections, you don't rub any elbows, you don't do any internships, your chances of getting a job are zero. Even if you're graduating from a school like Harvard or Yale. Because, if you think about things from an employer's perspective, someone who, like, you're the CEO of a company. Imagine you're the CEO of a company and you're going to hire someone. Who are you going to want? Are you going to want someone who could be a complete deadbeat and no addition to the team, but you have a fancy degree and a high GPA? Or are you going to want someone who has proven that they can do the job, who works well with your teammates, has proven that they can make a great contribution to your company despite not graduating from a prestigious school? Who are you going to pick? And obviously anyone with a brain is going to pick the one that can get your company further, can get you where you want to be in life. And so that's another thing. I've noticed that too, and even as a Harvard student myself, I'm not scared to admit that my degree is not gonna be an automatic ticket into a good career. And I was more than willing to accept that before I even applied to Harvard. It's real life. The real world is very competitive. You have to work very hard. You have to rub elbows. You have to get out there and get some experience. And I knew that entering college, or even entering grad school, that simply having a piece of paper is not going to guarantee a good life, a good future. I have to put in the work every single day. And so that's just another thing I really wanted to talk about, is overcoming a lot of the stigma that people have and why they have it. And obviously there's no way I could sum it all up in a 10-minute video, so I'm probably gonna make several videos on this topic, but this is just a few of the ones that I wanted to talk about while I was making my next delivery. So anyways, you guys all have a great day, and I guess ask me any questions if you guys have any questions. Thank you.